Brendan loves to go to the park, but if there's a dog there, we have to leave. Or he loves to go for a walk, but if there's a dog, he might run away from the dog and from his mom. As fall came about, she said, he's not going to have anybody to play with now. I said, well, why not? She said, well, the neighbor kids go and bounce around from house to house, but Brendan won't go because all the other families have dogs. So here's this child who has autism, who has friends and has a social life, and that's awesome, but then every winter he kind of loses those friends and they have to start new in the summertime. And as he gets older, it's going to get harder to start new. Brendan loved seeing Holly do tricks. Sharon had him pull Holly Bell in a wagon, which he loved. It had been 2 weeks since he had been to the center. Sharon had been in the waiting room before me, and Brendan came in and he was immediately scared, so Sharon made sure she told me that. So he said, Brendan, what do you think you're ready to do? And he goes, I want to pull Holly in the wagon, one of his favorites.
Hearing stories like that never gets old. After all these years, I just never get tired of watching and hearing things like that.
Just such an amazing story. Hi everybody, I'm Meredith and I'm with Karen Girth. She's the founder of Kpets. Karen, what is the goal of Kpets?
Kpets is registered volunteers who are touching lives, warming hearts by providing comfort, encouragement, and rehabilitation through the animal-human interactions. So any way we can use our animals to help people in therapy settings or just, even hospice settings, just to warm their day and bring smiles to their faces.
It's incredible how animals and people can bond and really become less afraid and let people grow like that little boy.
My students have emotional and behavioral needs, and we have supports. They are not able to be in regular education classrooms. In my classroom, we have a full-time school psychologist, myself, who is a special education teacher, and 2 paraeducators to provide behavioral, emotional, academic support. And I would say about half of my students are struggling readers. So when the dogs come, we have the dogs in different stations throughout my classroom, and the students take turns reading to the dogs, and they read to each dog about 8 to 10 minutes, and they'll rotate through every single dog. What the amazing part that we see every time is the sustained reading of our struggling readers. They're able to just read and continue reading, and it's not an argument or a fight, and they just want to read to the dogs, and they just enjoy that so much.
He struggles with reading, and it's his least favorite subject. So any chance that we're able to support that and get him to read is very helpful for him. He knows every Friday's a Cappy Day, and if he has a good morning, then he gets to read to Cappy, so it also helps us reinforce good behavior. So it's kind of more like a reward for him, and it's always a Biscuit book. Biscuit books are stories about dogs. Sometimes it's Biscuit goes to school, or Biscuit in New York, or Biscuit in the city, and he will always put Cappy's name where it says Biscuit.
Karen, I love seeing all the different types of dogs in that video. I think the pug really enjoyed being read to. I liked that picture there too. And the reading is really important for some children. Why do you think children respond to this?
The dogs don't judge. They love you no matter what.
This isn't just for children though, right? Explain that.
Kpets volunteers are visiting with hospice patients. They do work with occupational and physical therapists. There's definitely all kinds of venues where we can use our pets to help people.
Most of us use a leash that has the double handle on, so the students hold on to the handle that is closest to the dog while we still have hold of the further handle. But the students think that they are walking the dogs, and it really is a confidence booster.
He goes to the Lidditz Library as part of their Fourth Saturday program, and he visited with a little girl there one time who was deathly afraid of dogs. And so he was on one side, she was reading, and then she got up and was trying to take him for a walk, and she dropped the leash and she just got down on her hands and knees and started to crawl. Well, he saw this and he got on his belly and he crawled to her. She turned around and crawled, and they were nose to nose, and she actually petted him for the first time.
Hearing that story of the child and the dog coming nose to nose, it makes me think of Lady and the Tramp.
That's perfect, that's right. It's really neat to see how the dogs motivate children and really encourage them to try harder.
I think that encouragement is a really important part of your Kpets program.
One of the most memorable moments I've had recently, I was in the process of evaluating a prospective Kpets team. A woman came into the room where we were and said, She heard there was a dog in the building. Her mother had been a lifelong lover of dogs. She was in the final stages of hospice, and could we go into her mother's room and visit her to see if there would be any kind of a response to a dog? So the team and I went into the room. The dog automatically went to the woman's bed, put her nose under the cover and found the woman's hand. The woman opened her eyes and smiled. And I got a wonderful thank you email from the daughter thanking us for taking the time to go in and visit her mom. It was the last time that she heard her mother speak or smile.
Kpets and Gilly have been coming to Lancaster Rehab Hospital really since we opened in 2007. I thought about how to really explain the benefits of these dogs in the hospital, and it's very difficult to put into words. We too have stressful days. We have a wonderful team of clinicians and non-clinicians who care for folks who have been through some very traumatic events. They and their families are going through really probably perhaps the most difficult period of their lives. And so our staff, who are quite experienced and dedicated to caring for our patients, give so much to these patients every day. So when Gilly and Nancy and the other dogs walk in the front door, they immediately give something to us.
There was one gal that, and this goes back a couple years ago, that had a stroke, and they were not getting any response from her. I mean, nothing. She would just sit in the chair, and they were trying all different things to get a response. And so she was in the gym where we go to do therapy, and they asked if I would bring Gilly over just to see her. And as we walked over, I'm gonna start. And we're talking her expression, nothing, she had nothing. And she gave this big smile. And they, took her arm and they had her petting him, and we worked with her a couple weeks. And at one point her son said to me, my mom doesn't even like dogs. We never could have a dog because she didn't like them. He said her day brightens when she sees the different dogs.
What do you think? We're like tearing up.
Those stories really make it all worth it. I mean, I know so many volunteers have experienced things, and we only hear half the stories of what really happens. The one lady got an email thanking us, but there's so many times we don't even know what we've done, the effects that we've had on people's lives.
There are so many heartwarming experiences that come along by Kpets. It seems no matter where these dogs go, Cody, for me today, they just spread joy.
We used to do this exercise with Chester, where Melissa would roll out on a big ball to be in a plank, and Chester would go under her. So Melissa would have to hold herself up on the ball, and then Chester would crawl under her to get a treat.
Sit-ups for kisses.
Sit-ups for doggy kisses.
Yeah.
That was always a fun one.
One boy this year that was the first time he met Arnold, and he's not much of a talker. He kept asking her, approaching another person that he's not used to, all kinds of questions. What do you feed the dog? The pig, where does he sleep? Where does he go to the bathroom?
I never met him before.
No, that was the first time. And Arnold, of course, and every time we'd squeal, the kid would grin from ear to ear. And just to ask, autistic kids, it's hard for them to ask a question, even to comprise anything that begins with who, what, where, which, how. Very difficult, and they just were flying out of his mouth one after another.
So Kpets even has a therapy pig. I love it.
Yes, we do. We have a cat, several cats, and miniature horses as well.
So much to offer. What do you need, Karen, to help sustain Kpets?
We have an ongoing need for volunteers because the demand is so great for what we do, but we also need the funding to help screen and train those volunteers as well.
If people want to get in touch with Kpets, what should they do?
They can visit kpets.org or call us at 888-685-7387 or 888-68-KPETS.
Make it easy. Thank you so much. Cody, thank you so much for being here. Karen, you've built a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
We go to Oakleaf Manor in Landisville to the memory unit. It's called Friendship Place, and there is a resident there that when we visit with her, she doesn't speak to anybody in full sentences except him. And you can actually understand, she has a whole conversation with him. It's just amazing.
One of the students that reads to Flower in a second grade class drew a picture of Flower, which I think is pretty good, and had all the students in that class sign it, and they gave it to us. So I thought it was very cute.
The dogs don't judge. The dogs don't hear a difference in a child's voice if they have trouble speaking. We love Kpets so much. We can't do enough. This is why we're sitting here today, because we can't do enough to give back for all the things that Kpets has done for us.